Good afternoon, OHL fans. Reece Doumani here with Colin Ward. We are the hosts of the OHL in 60 podcast, and we are live from First Ontario Centre here in Hamilton. Family Day, 9 games on the schedule, 18 teams going.
Yeah, we got some free views too. The CHL TV free view today, Family Day. That's a nice tradition to get, especially for the first year. I really like that idea, Reece, and that's exciting. That's good. A lot of views today around the Ontario Hockey League, around the CHL in general.
I was going to say, we have to record tonight for our new episode tomorrow, but there may be some breaks in there to catch some of the action out west.
Yeah, hey, we might get some radio calls, or maybe put the data bill up a little bit and watch some hockey on the way home.
Yeah, oh well, who cares? But we're going to focus on this one. This is our featured game for this week. It is the Erie Otters taking on the Hamilton Bulldogs, and we'll start with visiting Erie, Colin. We talked about it throughout, maybe not at the beginning of the year just because of that bad start that Erie had, but as the season has progressed, they're in 9th place right now as we come into action today on February 21st, but the Erie Otters are still a really good team, and they've given Hamilton a run for their money here.
Yes, they have. And I mean, they split on the season series, Reece. It's a very tough matchup. The Erie Otters play so similar to the Hamilton Bulldogs, where they're going to play 5-on-5, similar to what their general manager, Dave Brown, is. They're going to play aggressive, in-your-face hockey, and they're going to be a tough team. They're going to wear you down. You saw it in the last game against the London Knights Saturday evening in Erie, where it was a raucous Erie crowd, and that's very exciting to see around the league, to see that atmosphere back. And Reece, that was...
I was going to say, they brought back the Sweet Caroline in the London.
They did it about 5 times. I did a tweet out the over-under 5 times in the game because there was a lot. And it was a very tough environment for the visiting London Knights to go in there. And Erie just plays hard, Reece. They play hard. They play in your face. They play a man system where it's just tight gap control, right? Gap control is a big thing in any team. That's a big thing, a structure in the system. You want to make sure you have your man, because when you give it up, it wasn't my man. So it was never my fault. So
hey, that's my line. That's what I'm playing.
I had my guy. But yeah, that's just a very good system. It's exciting to watch, and they're similar to the Hamilton Bulldogs, where you see the Hamilton Bulldogs like they jump up in the rush, and that really causes havoc for the Hamilton Bulldogs against Erie Otters today, because they're so similar. And recently we saw it this year. We've talked about it on the show. For you listeners, you guys know the Erie Otters play a very tight system. They're very hard to play against. So watch out for that tonight.
Well, and we'll talk about their players quickly before we switch sides to Hamilton. Obviously, you're a big fan of Kyrou. I think that's where you're going to go to start. But
who would have thought that?
What are 2 guys for you're looking for in this game?
Yeah, Christian Kyrou, in my opinion, I just think he's got it all, Reece. I mean, he's one of those guys underrated on the draft board. We don't talk about those guys enough. And Kyrou, in my opinion, is Erie's best defenseman. I like the way he plays. He's simple. He's mobile. Moves the puck up the ice well, makes a good first pass, all the simple things he does really good. So Christian Kyrou is my player to watch tonight, just because the Hamilton Bulldogs, we know what they got up front. We know that. So it's going to be interesting to see how he looks defensively, because we know what he can do offensively. 40 points this season in the Ontario Hockey League as a defenseman is pretty darn good, Reece. So we'll see what happens tonight. I think he has a big one.
Switching to the Hamilton Bulldogs, still no Mason McTavish. We're still waiting for his return from the Olympics again.
Probably Friday.
Yeah.
I would think Friday. Sorry, Reece, because I would think Friday, because they have a 3-3, the Hamilton Bulldogs. North Bay at home. That's a massive game for Mason McTavish to return against a team close to them in the conference. So North Bay, Ottawa at home at 4 o'clock. Then they go to Niagara. So at 2 o'clock in Niagara at Meridian Center. So those are 3 games where it kind of gets easier. If you want to look at the standings, it kind of gets easier for them. So it's a nice way to ease them back into the lineup. A nice 3-3 to return to after the Olympics experience. What an opportunity.
Well, and this Bulldogs team is getting healthy as we speak. And again, not to say McTavish isn't healthy or anything, just coming back from the Olympic break. I'm sure there's a little bit of a quarantine period there, but we've seen Cameron come back. They're starting to get that full lineup that Jay McKee wants. We talk about the goaltending. I'm sure we'll see both guys, like you said, next weekend. Still waiting for the official word on who's going to get the nod today. Would have to say it could be Costantini. He looks like he's starting to separate himself from Drobeck to be the number 1 guy, but they've been a nice tandem, so Hamilton been very fortunate in that aspect. But we'll talk about their defense. We talked about Erie's defense with Kyrou. We'll talk about Hamilton's defense as well in this one, because Erie doesn't have the biggest firepower in the world when we talk about offense, comparing to the Bulldogs, but talk about that defense for Hamilton. They're so good. What is it that makes them great?
Hamilton's defense is just very deep. And to think Hamilton hasn't had a full lineup much this year, just baffles you because they're that good with not even a full lineup. So you imagine when they get everybody in, how good they're going to be. So that, in my opinion, that defensive core, you got two overagers up front, Steos and Jacki, the acquired trade deadline acquisition. Very good acquisition indeed for the Hamilton Bulldogs from the Kitchener Rangers. They had to ship off a tough one, right? You trade Navarre Mutter, who meant so much to this franchise. He brought it all, Reece. He brought everything to the franchise. Fans loved him. But when you get a guy like Arbor Jacki from the Hamilton area, what an opportunity. And he has lived up to the bill, that's for sure, because he's been spectacular this year. He's physical, and he's got some skill to his game. And he's know all about the big hits, right? You know, he's a big body guy, plays a big game in the back end, but he's got some skill to his game. He's got one of the hardest shots in the league from the back end, in my opinion, that I saw this year. So very exciting to see those two lead it. Jorian Donovan's been very good this year. They've had Grushnikov, who I think is leading the league in block shots. It looks like he blocks everything on that side. And that top four, it doesn't get much better than that. So I'm excited to see what they can do tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll move up front before we get you off, before we get you ready for a full slate of games. Jan Misha, Logan Morrison, Ryan Winterton, I could go on and on. You could look at the
30 goals.
Yeah, Avery Hayes, George Diaco,
Diaco.
They can score a lot of goals today. There's a potential for that.
Yeah, and Diaco to me out of those names really stands out because since pulling off the Michigan, his confidence has went sky high. I don't think there's anyone more confident than, there's a couple of guys, but George Diaco is right up at the top of the list in my opinion. Diaco, he has it all since scoring the Michigan. He's got the confidence. You can see him stick handle with the puck. You can see him looking to make plays now. And it sticks out to me. A couple weeks ago, he made a very nice pass, Reece, on the Ryan Winterton goal. And I think you saw that one where he coasted wide, drew the attention with that wide stride of his and threw it right to the middle for Winterton for a tap-in. And as Reed Duffy likes to say, the Kraken. So what a player. The patience is there. He's got great poise. Very good hockey player, George Diaco. I just want to quickly shout that one out because very good player.
Well, we're almost ready for puck drop here at First Ontario Centre. This week's featured game here on the OHL in 60 podcast. It is the Erie Otters taking on the Hamilton Bulldogs. Make sure you tuned in to Twitter at the OHL in 60 podcast. We'll have the updates for you throughout the afternoon. And hey, if you don't feel like watching Erie Hamilton, there are 8 other games today on Family Day.
It's Christmas.
There's not much to do. Watch hockey. Let's do it. You can do it all day throughout Canada. So, and
Family Day too.
And this is just the start for us. We want to see what this will generate with the video, these game previews, any arenas that we can make it to. Yeah, just kind of, on more platforms, add some video elements to think of this. So if you like it, let us know. If you don't, if there's anything we could change, let us know, because this is just a test. See what we can figure out.
We're getting out of the face of radio face.
Exactly. I still got the face for radio. You can't see it, but it's there. Trust me. So again, if you like it, that's awesome. We'll continue to do this. It'll try and be a full-time thing heading into the 2022-2023 season, but we'll have to see where it goes throughout the rest of the year. And I'm sure we're going to do it again.
Oh, for sure. It's a blast. It's a blast. You get excited thinking about it, especially going into the rink today and thinking about what you're talking about, how the game's going to go, because we can give a prediction, and we both know it could go south in a hurry in a game like today. But I expect it to be a good crowd here today. I expect it to be a very good atmosphere. I expect the fans to be in it, and I expect it to be a very good hockey game. So tune in, and happy Family Day.
Yeah. Again, at the OHL in 60 podcast on Twitter, we've got all the updates for you. Enjoy the game, everyone, and happy Family Day.